Afternoon, thank you very much, and really appreciate being invited here this afternoon to talk about Inverdee House. My name's Neil McCallum. About me, project management, risk management, operations, business continuity planning, none of which apparently match my current responsibilities within SEPA, which is interesting enough. But hey-ho, there is a bit of all of that within your current responsibilities. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about a wee bit about SEPA. Okay, that's the bit for the sponsor. Our role is our main role is to protect the environment, human health. We do this by regulating. When I started 3 years ago, it was called We Are Scotland's Environment Policeman, backed with sound science. That's changed now, okay? We use the E word. We're an enabler. We're an enabler for the environment, we're an enabler for industry, we're an enabler for renewable technology. We believe that we're an enabler of what we're trying to do, and we're trying to change how we do it to be much more customer-focused and partnership-focused. That says, we've still got jobs and tasks and regulations to apply. So we do want to be excellent environmental regulator and recognised as an influential authority in the environment. We do. That's important to us, but it's also important to us, before we started out in Inverdee, we've got to walk the walk, not talk the talk. And that's what Inverdee was about for us. We have a building estate. We have 500 gauging stations round about Scotland. We have 30-odd buildings in 22 locations. We pollute. We carbon emissions. We do over 3 million miles a year, driving about, doing a regulation and doing that kind of thing. 52% roughly of all our emissions come from our building stock. And we've got to get that down. Every year we publish something called Greening SEPA, which details what an environmental performance is. But this is the first new build we've done of any substance for a number of years. Inverdee House, which I'm going to take you through for the next few slides, in Gaelic means meeting of the waters. And it's all lovely because it was called the meeting of the environment agencies. We've got ourselves, SNH and GINCC in the one building, in the Environment Centre in Aberdeen. The problem was, not all the staff were overly keen, right? Before we started, it's in Tory. Right? It's part of the Tory Regeneration Project, or some like to call it Tory Molinas, right? And we didn't know what to call it. We didn't come up with the name Invernee House, so we had the project name was Grey Hope House, or as the staff like to call it, Nae Hope House, while it was being constructed. So we had all these elements to deal with, and we had partnership. Now I'm going to talk, I haven't got a red pointy thing, so I'm going to be using my finger, this one, while I go through this. But while we're doing this, Grampian Housing Association, our partners in this, had a big chunk of land at the harbour, right next to where we had 2 labs that were built in the 1900s, 1920s, maybe something like that. Fish Fingers was developed in one of the labs. That's just a side point, but it's true. And they wanted to put some houses, and I'll show you the problems they had when they wanted to put some houses. And we wanted to put a new building, and if we worked together, we could do something actually quite unique and pretty good. That was the aim. But before I go into having these partners and the different cultures and merging together and getting us all as one, I'm not going to sit here and say everything. There was stuff left out on the field, right? And there's lessons learned for us as we went through this process that we left it out in the field and we could, but it's because it's not easy to do, okay? And I'll talk to you about what was left out in the field as we go through it. Okay. First, there's the site, Torry Molinas. Finger. Building A, Building B, bit of land next to it. That was the initial plan, the harbour. Fantastic views, okay? GHA, this is SEPA land here. GHA had kind of this plot here, okay? Wanted to build houses. The issue with people are getting wary of building houses next to working harbours because the big boats go peep, peep at 2 o'clock in the morning and people get annoyed. So it's more difficult to get planning. So we wanted to do something roundabout because that worked together. So have another look at it. Greyhope Road, the harbour at the top. Our building's essentially right on the harbour acting as a barricade and the housing behind it. Okay? That was generally the viewpoint. Now, that influences our design because we put in a 3-storey building, around about 45,000 square feet, staff in it, and this is people's houses and back gardens. So how we design it and how we make it work is quite important because we don't want to be staring into people and we don't want to be going through that process. Secure car park for vans and stuff, loading circle, general car park, anybody can use, house and whatever you want to do. That's the general view, okay? Come up Abbey Road, disabled parking, that's the general view. I'm not going to say too much more than that. Most important thing about this slide, the building's not blue, okay? Before we start, but that was the initial concept design that gives the form. You walk in just on this level and it's built on a wee hill and you go downstairs to where the labs are and you'll get a view of it. So that was the initial form of the building that we initially looked at, the very first drawing that we picked. Light wells, and we'll talk about that. Chimneys suck in fresh air, we'll talk about that. Lights in the roof, good daylight rate, we'll talk about that. It's airtight, we'll talk about that. So that's what it looks like, okay? It's clad in zinc, okay, is the best way to do it. Why zinc? Well, we couldn't really get round the question of, you know, the energy contained and actually go down and mine the zinc to put it in, but you can recycle it. But we had to pick something that worked with the harbour, worked with the salt water, and worked with the environment round about it. Somebody says it looks like Kunsel granite, right? In a certain light. It's not that. It's designed. This side of the building is south facing. Not a lot of fenestration there. Meeting rooms, staff room. That's the reception. Beyond that, all the windows are the other side. Okay? So that's the external building design. We bit about delivery targets. Meet construction deadline of 2010. Well, we moved in. Now, we didn't actually have a whole year to land it, okay? The actual deadline was to deliver it at the end of January, first week of February, and it took us to the 3rd week in February to do it. So we kind of met the construction target. Delivered it on budget. Budget was 12.5 million. We delivered it within 12.5 million. We did, we tendered it during the boom, the construction boom, where we couldn't get people to price it. We were kind of coaxing people to come and price and help us build this building. We then managed to convince the contractor, because when it started to turn a wee bit and costs started to come down a wee bit, was why didn't we go through a different form, because it was a 2-stage D&B and we changed it to a 2-stage D&B with a profit share on the basis that it retendered all the sub-packages to it. Now, the reason why I'm telling you that is it gave us headroom and we managed to get more with less. That allowed us to do more sustainable features, right? That was general view. So we've got a wind turbine. It's not massive, right? We've bought wind turbines before, and they're great in paper, and you do all your surveys, and you spend weeks in folks' back gardens, and all the stuff that you've got to do, and they've never really delivered what it thought it was going to do in the tin. So this one, we've got a 23-metre wind turbine. It's a vertical resolution wind turbine because it's located next to the houses, and that's always a concern, and we want to be good neighbours. And it will generate, and we're going to monitor it over the next 24 months to see what it does. It's got a SUDS programme, because we didn't have to do it, but we did it because it's the right thing to do, and that's what we believe it to do. It's a BREEAM excellent, and it was interesting listening to everybody talk about BREEAM, because I'm going to talk about BREEAM a wee bit later on, and we'll talk about that. It's got solar thermal to heat the hot water during the summer months in Aberdeen, which is a Tuesday this year, I'm told. Okay? And we wanted to change the labs, because it's a working building with air conditioning, for the whole ground floor with laboratories in it for doing stuff.